Picture this, a serene lakefront property, a dream come true for many. But what if I told you that sometimes that dreams can turn into nightmares? In today's video, we're going to dive into the regrets of buying a lake house. Join me as we explore the pitfalls, lessons learned, and crucial considerations that can save you from potential regrets. It's not all rainbows and roses. Let's jump right in. First of all, have realistic expectations about your lakefront home. I'm sure you scrolled through the picture-perfect images of lakefront living and thought, wow, that's the life. Well, trust me, you're not alone. Many of us fall victim to those romanticized notions of owning a lake house. Imagining we'll be out on the lake every day, swimming and boating and tubing. But here's the thing. It's essential to balance those dreams with the reality of lake home ownership. How often are you really going to be out there and be able to enjoy the lake? Hopefully every day. But after going to work every day, taking care of the kids, feeding the dog, are you really going to have time to get out there and enjoy it? And really, how often is that going to be? The idea of blissful solitude and endless recreational activities can cloud our judgment, but it's crucial to balance those expectations with the reality of lake home ownership. Secondly, maintenance and upkeep. Let me tell you about the not so glamorous side of owning a lake house. Maintenance and upkeep. Oh boy, it can be a real challenge. Picture this, battling erosion, dealing with water damage, and constantly staying on top of maintenance. It's a never-ending effort to keep your little slice of heaven in tip-top shape. Whether you have a sandy beach on the water, or you have a seawall, a retaining wall, or just a dock to maintain, you're going to have to keep it maintained. You got to make sure that the beach doesn't wash away and keep it there. You got to make sure that your retaining wall doesn't fall away. Ours currently is kind of leaning towards the lake, so we have to stabilize it back up. Plus it's rocks, so all the rocks could fall out. We have cement on top and that can deteriorate. And your dock, you not only have the boards on top of the dock, you also have the floats underneath the dock that have to be maintained. If you have a dock that's made out of wood, then you're going to have to make sure that there's no splinters and that it's well sealed. If you've got the plastic kind, that is obviously easier to maintain. And then also with a dock, lots of times you have a roof and you've got to maintain that as well and make sure that's in good condition. With the floats, we have the older styrofoam kind of floats, so the beavers love to get into them. So we have to make sure those are maintained. If you have plastic floats, which is the norm now, then they're a little bit easier to maintain because they don't deteriorate as fast. But all of those are going to have to be maintained because you are a lakefront property owner. It is a continuous effort to keep your slice of heaven in top shape. The changing seasons. They bring a whole new set of problems when it comes to lake house living. While summertime may seem like a dream with swimming, boating, and tubing, all the fun activities, winter can be a different story. Freezing temperatures, limited outdoor fun. So it is still a great opportunity to enjoy the lake and the area. We do enjoy all 4 seasons in our area in Cherokee Village since we're in north central Arkansas, but we are still in the south. So spring and fall are really not that cold, maybe cool, just depends on your definition. Me, I don't like to get in the lake until it's 90 degrees, so I'm probably not going to be there in spring and fall, but you very well be. Also in the winter, you could probably go out there if you really wanted to. This depends up to your individual preferences. You could also put on a wetsuit and go swimming. Boating, you can obviously put on more layers and enjoy boating throughout more seasons. Plus, with other opportunities to do activities, fishing, hunting, you can still get outdoors and enjoy the winter and the fall and spring, even if it's not being in the water on the lake. It's important to understand the highs and lows of each season when considering a lake house purchase. Let's talk about something that can catch many lake house owners off guard: unexpected expenses. Property taxes, insurance, utilities, repairs. We talked about some maintenance issues earlier as far as docks and seawalls and beaches that a normal homeowner wouldn't have to worry about. So those are a lot of repairs that you will have issues with. Utilities usually aren't higher with a lake house homeowner, but you could have additional utilities with lighting at the dock or lighting in the yard. And probably you're going to have a larger home if you're on the lake, so there may be higher utilities. But your insurance or taxes are more than likely going to be higher. As a homeowner on a lake, my insurance is higher because I have a liability policy so that if anybody has an accident in or around the lake, protected, and my house is protected from any future lawsuits. Property taxes are also higher on the lake in Cherokee Village. Now, Cherokee Village does not have a homeowners association unless you own a townhouse. All the other individual homes do not, but we do have taxes. We have a county tax and we have an SID assessment. Both are based on your assessed appraised value from the county. They both are paid annually. The SID assessment is 36% of your assessed appraised value, and then they take 10% of that, and that's what you pay annually. If you have a lakefront or a gulffront property, that is capped at $740 a year. If you have an interior lot, it's only $340. Unfortunately, my lake house is capped at the highest $740. So that is a guarantee that that's going to be higher on the lake house in Cherokee Village. Now, some of the smaller lakes do not have as high assessment, so then therefore you're not going to have that high, as high as me, but it's still going to be higher than an interior lot. So beyond the initial purchase price, there are definitely hidden costs to consider, and they can add up quickly. So budgeting will save you financial strain and regrets down the road. So if your mortgage has an escrow for your taxes and insurance, great. You're paying it monthly, you got it covered. If you don't, I highly recommend you set up a sinking fund or a savings account just for the tax and insurance. Put a little bit in every month, so when it comes due, you got it all set aside and you don't have to stress about it. Just a tip, and it can make things a little bit easier for you. Living in a serene, remote location may sound idyllic, but it comes with its own set of challenges. Distances from shopping malls, medical services, and airports can be pretty important to people. And unfortunately, we are very rural here, and they are not very close by. Now, of course, we have shopping available. There's tons of shopping downtown Hardy. There's shops in Ash Flat. There's tons of things that you can do here. Grocery shopping, hardware stores, lots of shopping. But we don't have a mall. We don't have a Maurice's, we don't have a Hobby Lobby. So you're gonna have to travel a little bit farther away to get those things. Medical services, we have doctor's office here. We have specialists that come here to the clinic across the street, the emergency center. But if you need somewhere to go to have a procedure done, to have surgery, to stay overnight in the hospital, you're gonna have to travel about an hour away to get there. If you want a commercial air flight to come travel into or travel out of the area, you're gonna have to travel 2.5, 3 hours to get to the airport in Little Rock or Memphis or Springfield. So being far away from the hustle and bustle is a great idea to relax, but it does mean that you're gonna have to sacrifice some conveniences. So before you fall head over heels for that remote lake house, make sure you consider that convenience factor and how important it is to you how close those things are that aren't necessarily here. Juggling work commitments, travel, and maintaining multiple properties can restrict the time you spend at your lake house. So manage your expectations and find ways to maximize your enjoyment and actual use of your property. So if this is your vacation home at the lake house, maybe you have a couple other locations that are also lake houses that you might go and visit or rent out. So if you have a lot of them, obviously you're not going to use them as often, and even if you only have one, how often are you really going to be able to get away and use it? I do believe that having a vacation home makes more sense than renting a property every time that you come to town. You can use it when you want to, and you can make money off it when you're not using it. So that does make sense, but if you're just spending all your time managing the property and not actually enjoying it, are you really getting the actual use that you wanted out of it? Plus, even if this was your full-time residence, how much are you going to actually be able to enjoy that lake? How much are you going to be working during the day? How much are you going to be sleeping during the day? How much time are you going to be away visiting your family? So just think of ways that you can actually maximize the use and enjoyment of the lake property if you're going to go ahead and purchase it. Lastly, environmental considerations. No, not just the pretty views and the sparkling waters. I'm talking about the less glamorous side. We're talking about water quality, invasive species, and even natural disasters. They're all part of the package when you own a lake house. So before you dive in, be sure to research and assess the environmental factors specific to your desired lake house location. In our area, the most invasive species that you're going to see is probably insects and rodents and deer. They definitely come into our yard. We've seen them sleep in our front yard, and they come down to the water and drink. Same thing with groundhogs and chipmunks and squirrels. They all use the water as their source, and then they live in the surrounding area. They have squirrel have chewed wires around our house. Groundhogs dig holes under our fence. The beavers build their dens under our dock and use the supports, the floats under our dock to build their dens. So they are a nuisance and they can make lake house living more difficult. So you just have to make sure that you're monitoring your house and keep it maintained so that if they do cause any damage, you take care of it quickly before it becomes even worse. As far as water quality, we do get a report every year of how good our water is in the area, so I don't know that to be a problem. And far as natural disasters, they're really not a problem here either. We do get an occasional tornado. The only one I've known to happen did happen in Highland, which is right outside Cherokee Village, but that was before I lived here. We've had a lot of threats of tornadoes, but I've never actually lived through one. We do have earthquakes here, but it's not a major earthquake. It's more like, oh, was that an earthquake? The ground moved, or was that thunder? You know, so it's nothing major. Probably the biggest one that I know of is hailstorms. We did have a hailstorm last April where most everybody got new shingles on their roof in Cherokee Village because of that hailstorm. So all of those are a possibility on on a lake house in Cherokee Village. So just make sure that you research the environmental factors so you make sure that you have the most desired location for your lake house. We've covered a lot today, from managing expectations to considering maintenance, expenses, even environmental factors. Buying a lake house is no walk in the park, but don't let this scare you away. The key here is to be informed, prepared, and realistic about what you're getting into. By doing so, you'll be equipped to make an informed decision and potentially avoid future regrets. Remember, knowledge is power, so make sure you get advice from professionals like inspectors, realtors, and even lake home owners. Trust me, it's better to go into this adventure with eyes wide open. And remember, no matter what decision you make, the most important thing is to create memories, enjoy the journey, and appreciate the beauty of the lake house. Do you regret buying a lake house, or do you love every minute of it? Leave a comment below and tell me which way you feel. In the meantime, if you are considering buying a lake house, check out this video, Moving to Arkansas. Thanks for watching and have a blessed week.